Arman, have you ever heard that any friendship based on business is superior to any business based on friendship?
I never heard it compared like that. I did hear that you shouldn't build a business with your friends.
Yeah, this is a quote from someone whom John D. Rockefeller is quoting. So it's a very meaningful quote, by the way. Like a business based on friendship is inferior to a friendship based on business. You need to have your incentives aligned. Let me give you an example, okay? For example, let's say that you are a supplier, or let's say you are a manufacturer and you need a supplier, okay? So in such a case, let's say that you find a supplier and then you guys get together well and you basically become integrated. You just buy from this guy, he just sells to you, and you have your product out in the market.
Hmm.
And this supplier is going to loyally supply product to you. He's going to be on time because he is a businessman. At the end of the day, he also wants the same things as you, the business to succeed. So he's going to do everything right on time, as opposed to, say, you have a friend and both of you start a business. Like you want to start a business, and what you do is say, I'm going to manufacture and you are going to be a supplier. And then what's going to happen, it's since it's based on friendship, you guys assume that since you are friends, you will compromise for each other. So for example, let's say the supplier was feeling lazy today, so he just doesn't show up. And then you are like, hey, my supply didn't come today. And the guy says, yeah, I just wasn't feeling so good. So if that happens, say 2 3 times, then eventually you will find a different supplier, right? And
Right.
what's going to happen then? You're going to have a fight.
Friendship
Because
deteriorates.
yeah, because you guys were initially friends. On the other hand, if you met by a business, like if your friendship was based on business, then this problem would never have arrived. The guy would never have skipped on delivering the supplies to you. And if you move to a different supplier, he would have understood that this is just business. It's not like a personal attack on you. So a friendship based on business is more stable, more superior to a business that is entirely based on friendship.
I would say this
Because
is one
you're
of the most accurate things I've ever heard.
Have you experienced something similar?
Absolutely. So since you're putting it into words right now, I'm thinking, oh wow, I didn't even know this was a quote. Where I learned this through just pain. Where there were plenty of times when I worked with someone on business, and we both were on the same page. We didn't know each other before the business, but we were both professionals, so we ended up cultivating this great relationship, and it became long term. Versus in my early ages, anytime I started a business with a friend, I noticed that over time they'd start missing deadlines, getting lazy, and they wouldn't want to be told otherwise. And friendships deteriorated because I started a business with them. So what you're saying is pinpoint accurate, from my experience at least.
Yeah, it's true. It's completely true.
Have you
The
ever
thing is,
experienced that?
not particularly, nothing not in an important sense, but I have experienced it in less important ventures, I would say. For example, like you have a school project between two of you, and then the other guy just doesn't work as hard, and there's not too much you can do about it because he just keeps getting mad.
Hmm.
So stuff like that. So what I'm saying is that it's about when you base your friendship on common goals, you have less expectations of compromise from the other person, or you don't take criticism personally because you have a common goal that you're trying to achieve. On the other hand, when you have just a friendship and then you try to like just do something because you guys are friends, then criticism stings. And people try to compromise in this, people expect like some kind of slack, where since you guys are friends, you should accommodate me.
Right.
I think that
Another
happens a lot in relationships as well, especially the ones that are like based on the concept of romantic love.
you want to expand?
Sure. For example, like in arranged marriages in here in India, the expectation is that, well, you guys are building a marriage, and then the duties of both the spouses are kind of delineated. For example, the woman takes care of the house, the guy takes care of making money, etc. And they both are working towards a marriage, and they have these common goals. So people don't slack off too much. On the other hand, what happens is, let's say in a Western marriage, you start expecting slack. For example, the wife might just like focus too much on her career and then be like, hey, but you love me, so you're supposed to support me, right? Even though you're hurting the common goal of your marriage. So when both the parties understand that you're together for a common goal and not just for your interpersonal relationship, your friendship or whatever, then things go more smooth than when you think the friendship itself is like just primary and everything else is like you're supposed to cut slack, and you know what I mean, like,
Right.
accommodate me. Like, we're friends, accommodate me.
Hmm.
Like that type of attitude eventually just destroys things.
I've seen this many times. I mean, the first time I saw it was, it wasn't a serious business or anything. It was just, two college kids having fun. But I noticed on Craigslist, you ever heard of Craigslist?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's this section called free, and this was roughly around 2009. So me and my buddy saw that so many people were just giving away free stuff, free TVs, free couches, free table stands, etc. So we thought, how about we pick up the free stuff and we resell it on Craigslist for money? So this is what initially we were doing. My goal was to find where we were going to go, and we were going to use his truck. It started off pretty good within the first couple of weeks, but later on, I mean, he started to make excuses. He was like, "Oh no, not today, man. Today, I'm feeling sick." I was like, "Okay." Then, like the next week, he's like, "Oh, today I'm feeling tired." And the third week, he's like, "Oh, today I'm feeling sad." I'm like, "All right, bro, come on, man. Like, we got to be professionals with this." But he's your friend, so you don't want to call him out too much. And when you do call him out, it's like, and now it becomes an ego thing. So
Exactly.
yeah, so sometimes it's like, yo, man, let's not take it personal. Let's just keep the common goal the common goal.
Yeah, agree, that happens, and it's completely true.
It's the same thing
I,
with roommates, where I mean, it seems nice to be roommates with your best friend or best friends. A lot of the times, though, I see it ending in horror, where it doesn't end up being a good idea.
I think it comes down to how effortlessly can you enforce rules and duties.
Hmm.
Because when you are friends with someone, then it becomes difficult to enforce duties, find replacements without, say,
Find
attacking the other
replacements.
person. Yeah, I can give you an example. For example, let's say Unapologetic Truths episode 17, okay? Let's say from tomorrow I just stop responding to you. For 1 week, let's say you might assume I might be sick or whatever, and then like we skipped an episode. The next week I just say, yeah, I'm gonna show up for the next episode, but I never show up. Like you're just waiting. Okay,
Hmm.
you might forgive me, and okay, no problem, maybe something came up. The third one, I say, I keep, let's say, rescheduling it, and then I just say, screw this, I don't feel like doing it, maybe some other time. At some point, let's say after 3 4 skipped episodes, you're going to be like, okay, maybe it's not working out with Harsh, let me find someone else to do a podcast with. And that, if we are friends, okay, let's say that if we are, let's say, just business partners, we just know each other from business and we became friends that way, then I will understand, where I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, it was my fault, I just didn't show up, and he is a businessman, he has to like find someone else to do it because I wasn't there. But if we start out as friends, like two friends, Harsh and Arman, and then you replace me, what is it going to be like? You betrayed me, Arman. We were supposed to do it together, but
Hmm.
I was just unavailable for 2 months, and then you just find someone else.
Right.
You see what I mean?
I
So
see exactly what you mean.
that's what happens.
No, it does. I mean, and what do you do in that scenario? Like now that you're breaking it down, I'm saying like, let's say it does happen. I'm like, man, I don't even know what to do because I'm cool with Harsh before, but it's nothing personal. And
I
this
mean,
happens
all
all the
you can
time.
do is explain that it's nothing personal and like just explain why it's happening. But really, there's not much you can do. It's one of those unpleasant situations like a divorce
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
sure you can make the other person, you can communicate and tell them the reasons, but they have their own ego, they have their own beliefs or as to what happened. Maybe you said something that pissed me off which didn't make me want to come again, or whatever, so it becomes like a conflict versus a business thing.
And anytime I'm dealing with people, I can expect that where okay, everything is nice and rosy right now, but eventually there's a potential for something bad to happen. Where, with me and you, I mean, there's a lot of common grounds, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, sometimes a tragedy does happen in life, uh, and something can happen with the Unapologetic Truths podcast, or in terms of business, where for a long time, I had this one particular group that worked on formatting my books, creating the covers and stuff. And then out of the blue moon, they started to deliver sloppy work. And if it happens once, it's whatever. It happens twice, third, fourth time. All right, man. Now we got to find a replacement. So anytime you're dealing with people, I mean, there's that level of volatility that's to be expected. And if you're dealing with a friend, and now you're dealing with volatility and a business, I mean, that's way too many variables to try to balance.
Yeah, for example, if you were friends with these guys whom you fired, then those guys are going to start to hate you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you piss, like if their ego is hurt enough, then you have made an enemy and these guys will start attacking you. You see what I
Right.
mean? They're gonna be like,
Right.
Arman is a scammer, he does XYZ, whatever. You
Mm-hmm.
see all these like ugly public battles. It usually comes from this type of stuff.
So, what do you see as the workaround? Do you think friends should ever start a business together?
I mean, I would not say never, but be careful. Like you have to be aware of the risks while you're going in and not have rose colored glasses,
Mm-hmm.
because things can go south, things do go south all the time. So you have to keep those factors in mind. My general advice is to keep your friends for friendship and work with a skilled and competent. I think this is from the 48 laws of power, where you have to fairly evaluate whether this is the right person for the right job if your friendship was not involved. In the sense that if you have to choose between two people and one guy is your friend but less skilled and the other guy is not as skilled, then pick the other guy. So you have to, I think working with a skilled and competent is what I would default to.
One of the best feelings is when you're working with someone on business and they end up being a cool guy. Like my narrator for my audiobooks, Daniel. I mean, initially it was just business, but later on we added each other on WhatsApp, and I'd give him updates regarding new books that I'm about to publish. Every now and then we're talking, and eventually I find out that he's a genius once it comes down to the podcast audio and that sort of specialized knowledge. And he's roughly around my age. We're talking, we're giving each other business advice, how to have clear audio. I'm like, yo, this is a cool guy. I can see myself working with him long term. And that's one of the best feelings out there when you meet good talent and they have a great personality.
Yes, Arman, that is a friendship based on business.
Hmm.
That is superior to a business based on friendship.